Good evening. We call the Hayward, Iowa City Council to order on Wednesday, May the 11th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. All present are council staff other than our city attorney, Jenny Winterfeld. If we do need her, we can get her on phone this evening if we do. For those in attendance tonight, if you wish to address the council, there are no public hearings. You can address the council on open business number 1C. Come to the dais, please, and state your name, and please limit your visit to 5 minutes, if you would, please, to address the council. As usual, the City Council gets their packet on Fridays, so we move right into our standard agenda item. Agenda item number 1A is approval of the April 27th, 2022 regular City Council meeting minutes. Is there a motion for their approval?
So moved.
Moved by John. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Patty. Questions or clarifications? All in favor then of approval of the April 27th, 2022 regular City Council meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes 5-0. Next, we'll move to claims for payment. Start to my left with Rob for questions, please.
No questions.
Patty?
No questions.
John?
None, thank you.
Travis?
None, thank you.
Monty?
59,418, membership.
Northwest Iowa membership dues. Northwest Iowa Development, that is, okay, so that is our economic development membership dues, annual costs. It's based off population.
Okay.
It's actually gone down this year from previous years, so.
Any further questions? Is there a motion for approval of May 11th claims for payment?
So moved.
Moved by Travis. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by John. All in favor then of the May 11th claims for payment, say aye.
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 Those opposed?
No.
That passes 4-1. Next, we have open business from the community.
I'm Bill DeYoung. I'm here with my wife, Deb. And you all know that we were the former owners of Central Cafe over the past 40-plus years. I'm here on behalf of Jen McVeigh. She is totally, I don't know what quite the right word is distraught that so very little is being done, and the process of her trying to get a building permit and all this is, she is seriously thinking about just not rebuilding. She wants to build, but just seems like the city fathers don't want her to build. You know, there's a $100,000 grant for the building next door, and that's a has-been. She is a viable business for this community, and she can get no response, or the response she gets is so little that it doesn't go anywhere. Now, I know they're waiting for an engineer now, and then you got to wait for this, and the wall has been an issue, and we still don't understand why the wall is her issue, because she was not liable for the fire. The fire happened in her building. She is liable for the part of the wall that is still hers, that's still standing there. But, you know, yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell. She wants some help, you know. She has enough money to build. She has, and people are asking us questions daily, you know, and where she's working now, it's working kind of. It's not very efficient, you know. So if you want her to stay in town, I say we get off our behinds and get behind her, because she will be gone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to address the council? Okay. Thank you for your time tonight, Bill. We'll move to the mayor's report. Our thanks to the city staff for setting up the community center for funerals and lunches. It's very much appreciated. We welcome to the front office Leslie Carlson, started today, I believe, and we thank Pam Wakeman for filling in during the interim at that point. We welcome the West Sioux government class tonight. Appreciate your attendance here. I hope when you get settled somewhere in a community that you have an active foot in the community that you live in, either serving on city government or school boards or church boards or something that you get involved in. So thank you for your attendance tonight. We'll move to staff reports, and we'll start with Jacob, please.
I'm just gonna save mine for when I discuss the budget amendment.
Okay, thank you. Travis?
Work's being done in the People's Bank, the new People's Bank alley. Hopefully, we're trying to get half of that, the north half poured this week, depending on rain. And then there'll be a break, probably about a month, and then the contractor will be back to pour the south half. We did that because of their scheduling and ease of access in and out of that alley. There's a couple business in there, and so we just thought half and half would be the best way to do that. IMU has been working on a new gas system operating and maintenance plan. It's been inspected by the IUB, and it's ready to be adopted. The reason for the new plan was PHMSA, which is Pipeline and Hazardous Material Safety Administration, and the Iowa Utility Board wanted to see operator qualification incorporated into the plan instead of two standalone plans. So we'll have that resolution prepared for the next meeting or first one next month. Sunday morning, we had lightning strike in town that affected about 40 to 50 high-tech customers, all in Node 7. Many modems were hit and needed to be replaced. Basketball court lights at French Park were also damaged due to lightning. Repairs are ongoing in the park, and the high-tech customers, I believe, after today should all be up and running again. And then reminder, citywide cleanup this weekend.
Thank you very much. Wanda?
Just a couple items. Ron continues to work on the amps to get those installed. The process has been slow, but he's been very steadily working on that and ordering the equipment for the head end. Just for your information, for those that are new to the council, FEMA came in last year and did some new flood maps for us. And there's some ordinances and regulations with that will be coming in the next few meetings for your approval. And that's all I have, Rick.
Okay, thank you. Carol?
Just been busy with the new Fall Catalyst Grant that's been sent out to all of the businesses for their downtown. It's another opportunity similar to the one that we just got for Central Parks. The housing rehab, 2 homes were actually able to get through the process, so we're going to go ahead and do some future work with those guys. A couple of the items, the website, and will be discussed later. The summer tourism guide, they're still trying to get just the last little bit of information together for that. It's called the Hayward and Ireton Guide. So we're just getting that put together. It should be ready to go here pretty quick. In the industrial park, I've had quite a bit of interest. I did have a company put their name on a couple lots, so we're working through that with Travis and Wanda on the floodplain issue. So that's about it.
Thank you. Corey?
Had a couple calls about this effort that's gained a lot of attention, I guess, in the U.S. recently called No Mow May, and it's to encourage early season pollinators or bees to come back around, and is supposed to be a good thing. So looking into it, I found Iowa State University Extension Office and Horticulture had given their opinion on it. And they said, yes, it can be a positive thing, but they want you to consider a lot of things before you would even do that. One of them is most cities have ordinances against having tall weeds or grasses, and some people get citations for unkempt lawns. They go through explaining that the reason for those is to prevent noxious weeds from spreading, to manage pest problems with mice and rats, minimize allergens in the air, maintain aesthetics and property values. The other concern they had is if you don't mow in May in Iowa, your grass is going to grow 12 inches plus. What that's going to do is actually going to bypass all of the flowering dandelions and everything else and start to kill off everything underneath it. And most people don't have the equipment to mow 12 inches of grass, so when they do finally mow it come June, they would end up with dead lawns, and we would just increase the spread of dandelions and other noxious weeds that we don't want. So their recommendation for any of those people that watch us or listen, or in case you guys get asked about it, is to do a mow less in May. Like, instead of doing it every week, maybe do it every 10 days. Let the dandelions blossom so the bees and everything else can utilize them, and then just mow fewer times in the month. So we haven't changed anything that would allow that with our ordinances.
Okay, anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Questions for staff from council or council comments?
Corey, how's the equipment coming for the new vehicle?
Well, right now we're kind of at a standstill. We've reached out to Alpha Wireless in Sioux Falls, and we're kind of at their mercy in order to get in line to get the equipment installed in it. They think towards the end of June, probably early July is what we're looking at.
Any other thoughts or comments from council? Move to other agenda items. Agenda item number 3, discussion sale of property at HD Development, the old Sioux Motel property. Understand that we wish to have this tabled at this point.
Yes, we do have a scheduling conflict, so we want to table this potentially till June, and we'll bring it back on the agenda.
Is there a motion to table this agenda item?
So moved.
Moved by Rob. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Travis. All in favor of the motion to table the discussion on the sale of property, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It should be tabled again now till June. Okay. Agenda item number 4, discussion and approval of a city Hawarden website proposals and redesign. Bring this back to the agenda tonight as we mentioned we would, so I'll pass it to Wanda, please.
Okay. Wanted to bring up what I'd sent out to the council in their packet. Just kind of a breakdown on the website history. Sorry. So the initial website was was live beginning sometime in 2011, 2012, which was done by Bass Advertising. Not sure where the company was from. Bass also hosted the website. Agency 212 took over hosting the website sometime in the middle of 2014. There were some initial improvements were made to the site to increase search engine optimization. The website's content management system also was not being supported, so new software was added to replace that. At that time, it was suggested to make the website ADA accessible. That was not a requirement, but at that point, due to the cost, it was declined, is my understanding. The website, as it stands today, would need probably a complete redesign in order to add in the ADA. Some of the criteria that staff looked at, and with the help of, Monty helped us with some of this, is what our criteria should be when we looked at selecting a vendor for the website. Obviously, good design, and as we talked last time, making it ADA accessible, so it had a call to action for anybody to look at it. One of the things that we talked about in our project was to make sure that we have staff input, which when we decide on a vendor, we'll go back to staff and work with staff to have the input on that, and also the council. At this point, we would like to select a vendor tonight to be able to move forward. As you know, the website is not ADA accessible, so that is an issue for us. Both Carol and I have had contacts from, since this has been made public, that our site is not ADA accessible, from vendors wishing to help us make it ADA accessible. So that is out there, so we need to be cognizant of that. Of the 3 proposals that we have, one of them, Civic Plus, required a 3-year commitment, even though they don't charge us a design fee. So that's why you have the 3-year costs out there. Agency 212's bid for the 3 years is $92.40, but we have already paid the annual hosting fee, so that actually that total cost would be $10,540 if you add that back in. And then you see Municipal 1 and Civic Plus are approximately the same, right around $12.6, and that's for the 3-year commitment. At this point, the staff needs some kind of direction as to which way to go, which vendor, because we do have to do something at this point to make it ADA accessible. All 3 vendors will have offered up website design in the proposals that will make this ADA accessible. So are there any questions from council on why one vendor over the other was suggested last time, or what we looked at? Anything that we can help you get to a decision?
I'm interested in Civic Plus. They, multiple cities in Iowa utilize them. The city of Lamar's has them, the city of Sioux Center. There's multiple cities. Lamar's is very happy with working with them, and is very caring about everything they do over there, and they're very progressive. I did speak with them today, and the people that input information are very pleased with that particular company. More cities could be asked, I guess.
Did you check with any of the other vendors? Any references, or just Civic Plus?
Just Civic Plus, because I'm very familiar that they serve a lot of Iowa cities, and I know this certain cities that I've been friends with certain people in certain cities, and we're happy with them.
Okay.
They're city government orientated.
Is Municipal 1 a $10,000 cost over 3 years? $5,000 for the first year, $2,000 for the years after?
$2,000 each year after.
That's how I interpreted it, but, so 10,000.
Let me check my math. Could be wrong. So 3 years of $21.95, and then you add in the design fee.
Okay, I understood that the design fee had the first year of hosting, but that's why I'm asking for clarification. It's just at total first year cost of 5,000. And then 2,000 after.
Yeah, it looks like that. You're correct.
Okay.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, from my experience, the design fees are quite reasonable. So I think regardless of whether we pay that over 3 years or if it's a line item, I think those are quite reasonable costs. I've seen considerably higher costs, so it's a reasonable expense for design.
Does anybody have a preference?
I don't have a strong preference. I don't mind Agency 212. I mean, they're familiar with us and they're close. I think working with them might be easier, but location isn't necessarily required for some of these projects, so I don't have a strong preference, but don't mind staying more with Agency 212.
I guess, does anybody have reasons they don't want to select one over the other?
Obviously.
It's not obvious to me, so you have to share your comment.
Well, we voted last time 2 and 2, so there obviously must be some reason. We just as soon go with someone else. If Patty likes these people, if the rest of them are okay with it, make the motion.
I was waiting for everybody else to voice their opinion.
I guess my opinion is, you know, I'd like to keep it as local as we can if we got somebody that can work with us and has been doing the job. I don't know what reason you might have, but I guess that's kind of where I'm at. We got to do an upgrade at some point. It's been several years. It looks like it's been 2014 since anything's been done.
Almost 10 years.
So,
10 years doesn't mean it was for lack of effort or lack of discussion or anything else. We tried to get it updated a number of times.
I think according to Wanda's comment was that at one point, someone had said the city wasn't going to, it was too costly at that point.
Correct. As best as I can go back through the records, that's all I can find.
Any further discussion? Is there a motion for the City of Hawarden website?
Doc, would you have a preference on which one? Since Agency 212 didn't pass last time, do you have a preference on the other two?
Oh, no, I just find it unusual that in an industry this big with this many possibilities out there that all we looked at was, 3 opportunities.
We narrowed it down to 3.
Carol, you want to refer to that?
I did research quite a few companies, to be honest with you. There were several that were out of Des Moines. There were several that were out of Sioux City. It was just a point of picking 3. I mean, I could have presented 10. I just felt like a lot of the information that came from the website providers was very similar. I picked Municipal One. They work with the city, Mason City, Iowa, and several cities, as well as Civic Plus. Patty's right about that. They're both good companies. The one thing I did kind of dig a little deeper into was if I called their customer service line, if I sent an email. I did ask those questions as far as, just making it functional. One of the things I did find from Civic Plus and Municipal One is when you start making changes and adding things, they don't necessarily include that in their initial design fee. That's an additional charge. This is a cost, that's a cost. Agency 212, I have, obviously, Travis is local. I do always encourage that. I am the Economic Development Director for Hawarden. So that, of course, is my first priority. I felt in talking with Travis, I was able to say, these are the elements that are must-haves. These are not on our wish list. These elements are our must-haves. And he was very clear that those items would be included, and I felt that with confidence, that there would not be an additional charge. That was probably the biggest reason why I recommended Agency 212. Calling the helpline of Municipal One, they were very nice, don't get me wrong. It's not that there was anything wrong with those companies. You just had a time to wait, send us a chat, send us this. I didn't feel like I could get the answers as quickly as I probably would like. It's kind of a spoiled interest, instant gratification world, but I just felt like from Travis, I could probably get a little bit more direct and honest, no, not honest, but a direct and quick answer, whether it be short or just, this is what you need to do. I just felt like it would be a lot easier.
Okay, thank you.
We did confirm Civic Plus does have the ADA as part of their design requirements.
Yes, they all were very clear about that. It's almost just a standard
Yeah,
item. It's not even really discussed.
should be, yeah.
Any other thoughts or comments? May we move to a motion?
You did have a good experience with Civic Plus, at least with what you've reviewed.
Yes. Call the Mars, Costa Center. They wouldn't mess around with them if they were giving them, they weren't able to produce.
I guess that is one thing I would agree with, Patty. I'm not saying that any of these providers, I would not have presented them had I not felt that each and every one of them could do the job. That was not at all a problem with any of them. I really did feel that. So if, to call Sioux Center or call whoever, we can do that. I did not call around 2 cities and ask them what they thought or how they felt. Different people have different approaches to things. I just dealt with the companies themselves.
And the hosting fee for Agency 212 was effective January 1, or what was the timeline on that hosting fee?
I can't tell you for sure. That would be my guess, but I don't know that for sure.
So what's the difference in cost between municipal 1, agency 212?
It's almost the same.
Because they've already,
It's almost the same. Within, it's within $200.
So Carol, in terms of the design phase, that all has to be spec'd out yet? What requirements you're looking for, what we want incorporated, what we want to change? None of that's been addressed specifically with each group, just...
I was able to pull up I don't know if any of you have ever looked at the Mason City, Iowa website. It's a website I'm familiar with, own property in the town. So I just went to their website, tried using it, moving around in it, and I found it to be awesome. So I've kind of gauged what I would like for our website and working with Amber and Wanda as well, as it being, this would be a good layout and a good design for us. The backside of a website, I'll be the first one to admit, is not my expertise at all.
Right.
So I just was able to say to them, this emergency response link, this chat link, these different things are what we would like for our constituents. This is what we would like to have for Hawarden in the event of an emergency, or in the event the garbage truck is 4 hours late, you know, where we can really get the information out there quickly and have it be something that the citizens or, you know, the young kids, this is how they communicate, you know, they would be something they could go to and be confident that that's going to have the information that they're looking for, or maybe the answers. Or they can hit a chat link and then they can get an answer and not have to call on the phone or it's after hours. There would be ways of getting information out to people quickly. So Municipal One hosts that Mason City site. So that was, you know, that was kind of where I based my must-haves on.
Okay, and all three of them were aware of that?
Yes. The ones, a little bit, when talking to Civic Plus and Municipal One, some of these items, I did not get the utmost confidence that they would be included in the initial design fee.
So we're at a standstill unless we likely choose Municipal Civic Plus?
Well, I'm the only one that suggested them, and you two aren't, so that's why I'm not making the motion.
I'll make a motion to move forward with the design phase of the website with Civic Plus.
I would second that.
Been a motion by John, a second by Patty to go into a contract with Civic Plus for the Hawarden City website. Any further questions? All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
No.
Abstain.
The motion passes 3-1 no, 1 abstention. Thank you for the discussion with that. Agenda item number 5, approval of the fiscal sponsorship for the Hawarden Senior Center for a Land O'Lakes grant request.
This is a request from the Hawarden Senior Center for us to be their fiscal sponsor. They've applied to Land O'Lakes for a grant for some improvements to their kitchen and some other, a vacuum and things like that. In order to be able to get the grant, they need a fiscal sponsor, so they've approached us about that.
Is there an amount that they were requesting?
I believe it was $3,000.
$3,000. Okay. Is there a motion for approval of the fiscal sponsorship for the Hawarden Senior Center?
I make a motion.
Motion by Patty, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Travis. All in favor then of the motion of the fiscal sponsorship for the Hawarden Senior Center for the Land O'Lakes grant request, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes 5-0. Agenda item number 6, this is a resolution 2022-15, authorizing the acceptance of bids for the contractors for the properties listed to the Hawarden owner-occupied housing rehab. Carol, I'll refer to you, please.
There were 3 projects that were up for this grant. 2 of the properties, we were able to get a bid and get the scope of work down to the $24,999 per property. So this is a resolution accepting those bids so that we can go ahead, sign contracts, and move forward with the contractor.
Okay, thank you for your work with that. Any questions in regards to this resolution? Is there a motion for Resolution 2022-15?
So moved.
Moved by Travis. Is there a second?
Second. Go ahead, John.
Seconded by Patty. Got it, Patty, on that one. Roll call vote, please, for Resolution 2022-15.
Harvey.
Yep.
Olson.
Aye.
Feldhacker.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
Clocky.
Aye.
On a 5-0 roll call vote, Resolution 2022-15 passes. These projects have been very helpful for our community and very helpful for the citizens that are part of that to get their homes rehabbed.
It is a nice it's a nice program.
Thank you for your continuation and work on that, Carol. Agenda item number 7, presentation of the fiscal year 2022 budget amendment to set a public hearing on the budget amendment for May the 25th, our next regular meeting, and to publish the public hearing notice. I'll refer then to Jacob, please.
All right, so I have all of this in your packet, so you can see it all. So it's all done. It goes in the paper tomorrow as a 10 to 20 for our next meeting. So we are just setting the date for the public hearing, and then we'll pass this next time. And we'll just kind of go over a brief overview of most of this, and then I'll give you some highlights. For the most part, our insurance is going to be one of the biggest items here. It was actually about $80,000 over what we budgeted for. And it is about $35,000 more than what we paid for the same insurance last year. Other expenses that we have that we're covering on this are payroll expenses. So we had multiple retirements that all have a new liability payout that we pay out now for the sick leave. So that was brand new this year. So that causes a pretty hefty bill in their year of retirement. And then on top of that, we also had 2 administrators at one point in time that were overlapping during the training time, so that was also an additional expense. Other big things that have caused this are vehicle maintenance. So we have a street sweeper that took quite a bit of money that was not planned for this year. And then fuel costs have dramatically been higher. So all of the departments have been costing a lot more for their vehicles. Another item that was fairly large was the natural gas price increase. So we are actually $170,000 over that for purchases. And then we got telecom. Supplies for the upgrades are going to be, none of that stuff was budgeted for during this year, and now that we're doing all those upgrades, we'll be amending for that. So with that being said, some of this is going to be covered by just the cash balances that we have, but I have scheduled to transfer $100,000 from the gas utility fund to help cover some of those general fund expenses, and $140,000 to cover the Dry Creek levy. So what we're talking about with the flood zone maps, we had to certify our levy, and that was the total cost out of all of it to make sure that most of our downtown was not in a flood zone. And so now we got to pay the bill. And the only place that we can really take that from is something that has a cash balance, and we don't really have a cash balance in the general fund to do that. And those are the major highlights out of all of this stuff. You also will see in the notes that we had pool strainers that I kind of amended for at the same time. We had an expense come up this month when we're getting this put up together for the pool to be opening this summer. So, if you have any questions, I can try my best to answer them for you now.
I think they all make sense.
Unfortunately, everything costs a lot more money this year than it did last year. And since, actually, as a heads up, since we did our budget for next year ahead of all of this stuff, we'll probably run into the same issues with the insurance again next year as well.
need to set the public hearing. We need a motion for that then.
I make a motion to set the public hearing to May 25th, 2022.
Okay, there's a motion by Patty. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Rob. This motion is to set the public hearing of the budget amendment for May the 25th and then publish the public hearing notice. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion passes 5-0. Agenda item number 8, consent agenda items, transfer liquor license for Hayward Community Center on June the 4th. Also a renewal of Class C liquor license, outdoor sales and so forth for the golf course. All of the paperwork is in and complete. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Patty. Is there a second? Seconded by John. All in favor then of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes again 5-0. Our regular city council meeting, next meeting will be May the 25th. Again, government class, we appreciate your attendance here, and public members. We'll take a picture when we're completed. Is there a motion for an adjournment?
So move.
Moved by John. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Patty. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hayward City Council is adjourned. Thank you so much.